प्रहलाद जी।
इस बोलते को याद कर ले जिसका इलाही नूर है। अरे जिसने पिंड और प्राण को रचिया सोए तो हाल हजूर है। गज राजा तो द्वारे झूलता ने वही राजा जहूर है। उस मुर्शिद के शब्द तू चेता नहीं तो गाफिल क्रूर है। कहे कबीर घट चेत ले रे, कहे कबीर घट चेत ले तेरे में तेरा नूर है। उस नूर पर ज़हूर दर से तू साहिब ही भरपूर है।
Kabeer says, understand this light within. Reflect, contemplate on this voice speaking within you and recognize that to be the voice of the divine. Reflect on what you can find within this vessel, this body of yours, and realize that the light of divinity is shining from within. And once you have recognized that, there will be no difference between you and the Master, the Supreme Being, the Godhead.
जित गाँव जग देखा सहज अमृत साई सुनो भाई साधो साधो रे साधो अरे अगर निगम की पानी गगन में आवाज हो मेरे जीना जीना कोई सुनता है गुरगामी गगन में आवाज हो मेरे जीना जीना आवाज हो मेरे जीना जीना आवाज हो मेरे जीना जीना
Beautiful, beautiful. I noticed when Ji was singing, I felt like he was in a different place. That he was living the words, not only singing the words.
वो कह रहे हैं कि जब वो आपको सुन रहे थे तो उनको लगा कि आप यहाँ नहीं किसी और जगह में थे और आप शब्दों को गा नहीं रहे थे बल्कि जी रहे थे।
कबीर, गुरु नानक, बुल्ले शाह, जिन संतों ने कहा वो केवल गाना नहीं है, वो जीना है, हर इंसान का जीना है। और उन्होंने लफ्ज़ों के रूप में अनेक लफ्ज़ों में उस एक पूर्ण पुरुष के बारे में बात करी जो सबके अंदर मौजूद है। वो चाहे कबीर साहब ने कहा हो, चाहे गुरु नानक साहब ने कहा हो, चाहे बुल्ले शाह ने कहा हो, चाहे गरीब साहब ने कहा, और सब संतों ने कहा कि उसको हम किस तरह से जिएं, उसका एहसास हमें कैसे हो। इसी बात को गुरु नानक साहब भी एक पद में कहते हैं कि सकल हंस में राम विराजे, राम बिना कोई धाम नहीं। राम कहें, चाहे कृष्ण कहें, चाहे अल्लाह कहें, चाहे वाहिगुरु कहें, चाहे यीशु कहें, चाहे मूसा कहें, ये केवल लफ्ज़ हैं। और इन लफ्ज़ से पहले जो कुछ चीज़ है जो पूर्ण है वो सब के अंदर एक है। उस एकता का एहसास हम अपने अंदर में कैसे करें, इस बात को गुरु नानक साहब एक पद में कहते हैं, सकल हंस में राम विराजे, राम बिना कोई धाम नहीं।
Yes, I started the next button which Vivek is going to translate, but before that I just wanted to say what he was saying. You talked about living the words and he's saying all the saints like Kabeer and Guru Nanak and Bulle Shah, they have said the same thing, that words are not mere words which you sing or you say, but those are the realizations and experiences which you have to live through them. And that's how the poetry emerges, that's how the music starts. And the next bhajan is what we are going to move on to.
So all of these bhajans, all of these songs that PrahladJi sings are from a somewhat loosely defined tradition, religious or spiritual tradition called the Nirgun tradition. And Nirgun means that which has no qualities or attributes or form, that which cannot be described. What really defines the Nirgun tradition in South Asia is that it doesn't emphasize any deities or any forms of God, which is somewhat not necessarily contradictory but unlike or dissimilar to the mainstream religious traditions in India, which emphasize forms of God that can be perceived, can be described, can be depicted in images or idols. So Kabeer is perhaps the most famous or the most known of the Nirgun poets, the poets from this tradition. Another poet from this same group is Nanak, or Guru Nanak, as he's commonly known, who has become the chief figure, the chief teacher of the Sikh faith, the Sikh religion. And what's interesting is all of these poets, the Nirgun poets, have collections of poetry that are attributed to them, texts that are attributed to them. But the songs that PrahladJi sings are not from any of these texts. They're from an oral tradition that is from his region of India. So the Kabeer that PrahladJi sings, you won't find in a textbook. If you look up Kabeer in a literature textbook, you won't find those songs. Now he's going to sing a bhajan by Guru Nanak, or Sant Nanak. And you won't find that in a textbook, even though you'll find hundreds of bhajans by Nanak. And another important facet of all these poems is that because we're not describing a deity, we're not describing a form of God, we're describing an experience of indwelling divinity, we have to rely on very abstract poetry. And that poetry is supposed to lead us to finding a way of understanding something internal. So the last poem had this, and this poem will also have some similar metaphors and some new metaphors. So the metaphor used here chiefly is the metaphor of the Hans, the swan. And here the swan refers to the soul, the individual soul. This is a common linkage in South Asian poetry for a few reasons. One of the chief reasons is that because the word Hansa, if it's repeated, in Sanskrit becomes Soham, which we discussed in the last poem means I am God or I am divinity. So Hansa becomes a symbol for inner divinity. And here it says, within every Hans, within every swan, within every one of our souls resides Ram. Now, Ram is the name of a particular deity, but here Ram is just used to mean divinity, God, however you understand God. So within every swan, within every soul resides God. Without this divinity, we have no other refuge. There is nothing in existence in all of creation other than this divinity whose light, whose radiance is shining throughout all of the universe. So the first few verses will contemplate the nature of this radiance, and it says, our light, our radiance is shining in all 14 worlds, the 7 lower and the 7 upper. It is reflecting in all of creation, and in the thread of that awareness, the rope of that awareness, I will climb to divinity. And then it addresses us, the seeker, and it says, recognize this truth in your navel lotus, which is referring to the chakra in the navel, which has a special significance in the Nirgun tradition because this is where breath begins in the body, from the navel. So it says, recognize the divinity in your navel. Now recognize the jewel that is turning within the lotus of your heart, the heart chakra. There is an unplayed sound ringing throughout the city of this body. Its voice is resonating throughout the entirety of the universe. Diamonds, pearls, rubies, emeralds recognize the true value, the true wealth of love that is stored within, and contemplate on that true pearl, that true gem that is connected by a thread to that divinity. Finally, in the last verse it says, if you would be a person of the Guru, if you would be a realized person, then search within your own body. Don't go wandering about lost, looking for something externally in foreign cities. Look within this city, the city of your body. Nanak, the poet here, describes the Guru's light, the Guru's pratap, the Guru's flame, really, the Guru's primordial flame. It speaks within you. There is no other. So within every swan soul resides God. There is no other than this divinity in all of creation.
कबीर कहते हैं कि सब घट मोरा साइया सुनी सीज न कोई और बलिया युवा घट की जागट प्रगट हुई। इसी तरह से गुरु नानक साहब कहते हैं कि सकल हंस में राम विराजे, राम बिना कोई धाम नहीं। राम वो जो रग रग में मौजूद है, राम किसी आकार या प्रकार को लेकर के वो नहीं कह रहे हैं, क्योंकि संतों की परंपरा में जो हर कायनात के अंदर राम मौजूद है उसकी बात गुरु नानक से यहाँ पर करते हैं। वो रूपक इस तरह का है.
So the poet Kabeer says in one of his sakis that every vessel is a residence for God. There is no vessel, there is no body on this planet that is empty of that God. I am grateful to whichever vessel it is, whichever body it is, whichever personality it is, who helps me recognize that divinity within my own vessel, within my own body. And similarly, in this poem, Guru Nanak, the Saint Nanak, the poet Nanak, says, within every swan, within every soul is Ram. But PrahladJi is emphasizing that this isn't a particular person, a particular avatar or deity named Ram. This is a divinity that we call Ram that resides within every single being, that resides within every body, that can be found within every person on earth.
रग रग में बोले राम जी और रोम रोम अलंकार से जे धुत और सोई सुमिरन सार.
This divinity, this God is within every body. He is speaking, it literally says He is speaking within every one of your hairs. Become natural and recognize this.
जो तवासा राम इस तरह से उस राम को, उस चेतनमय सत्ता का एहसास इस शरीर के मार्फत ही संभव है। और जब तक वो इस शरीर के अंदर है तब तक ही ये शरीर काम करेगा, और जिस दिन वो इसमें से निकल जाएगा तो शरीर की हर गतिविधि बंद हो जाएगी। फिर कोई किसी तरह का जड़ी बूटी या किसी तरह का इलाज काम नहीं आएगा। इसीलिए इस शरीर रूपी गाड़ी में जो चेतन में सत्ता है उसका एहसास संतों ने शरीर के मार्फत करने की बात करी है।
So, PrahladJi is encouraging us to reflect on this divinity, to recognize the divinity within our own breath that animates these bodies of ours. And as long as this divinity, as long as this breath is present within this body, it can go about any variety of activities. But the day it ceases to move within this body, all of this body's activities will cease. And he compares this body to a gadi, a car, or a bullock cart, which is a very popular image used in easily the most popular of PrahladJi's songs. This song is so popular, in fact, that when I was traveling with PrahladJi and when I was doing research in his region, I saw in many cases people would come from villages near and far. People would literally hitchhike. They would jump on a milk truck or a mail truck and come, and then they would walk 10, 12 kilometers because they heard that PrahladJi was singing, and they would come to hear his songs, but especially to hear this one song, and they would never let him leave unless he sang this one song. And this song describes this body as a cart or a car, and it describes Ram, or God or divinity, as the driver of this car. And it says, "My only prayer is, please drive this cart carefully, O God, my cart driver." This cart has been adorned in this world with so many trappings. It's so colorful, but as it goes about the world, please be there in the driver's seat and drive it carefully, because the destination is far away and it's a difficult journey, and so many carts become stuck in the sand, stuck in the mud. And those carts who move according to the teachings of the Guru, the spiritual teacher, they will reach that destination, that faraway goal. But those who don't will fall to pieces right there in the sand. And then PrahladJi is describing what happens to that cart once divinity, once breath has left it. He says that this affliction, we can call any number of healers, any number of seers, any number of doctors and naturopaths and botanists and herbal experts, and they will bring all kinds of unctions and potions and ointments and herbs and medicines, but none of those will have any effect on the body once God, once Ram, once divinity, once breath has left that body. It's like an empty house. It cannot be saved. And then it transitions to a very strange image of a funeral pyre. A very common image that comes up in Kabeer poetry is the image of the four men lifting up a cot. And this is something you see in India on the day that a body is taken to the cremation ground. Four men from four corners lift up the body on this plank, and they carry it there to set it down on the cremation ground. And Kabeer says, with his characteristic mysticism and his characteristic cryptic language, oh, how strange it is, they keep it there among the ashes at the funeral pyre, and all the ashes spring up into a cloud in the air, the same way they do on the holy day, which is the most festive, the most celebrated, the most fun kind of function in Hinduism, when you throw all kinds of colors in the air. So he says it's strange, these colors swirl, these powders swirl in the air on Holi, And they do the exact same thing on that day when this body is dropped on the cremation ground. On the bank of the river, watching this, a bride cries, and she says, "Oh God, you have ended my marriage. You have ended my union." And Kabeer says, "Don't you know, O bride, the same one who created that union is the one who is ending it today." And so we pray, "Oh God, drive my cart carefully, drive it slowly."
ऐसी धीरे धीरे रहना और धीरे सब कुछ हो, यदि मारी सींचे सो गणा और ऋतुआ में थलो वो एक ही साधे सब साधे और सब साधे एक जाए, यदि मारी सींचे मूल को तो भूले भले
Move slowly, slowly, O mind, for all things happen slowly. The gardener may water the plant 1,000 times, but the fruit will only come when the season arrives. So focus on the one, and all things in this world will come. But if you try to focus on all things, then even that one will escape from your grasp. After all, the gardener only has to water the roots. The leaves, flowers, and fruit come on their own.
और मनुष्य में वो मूल क्या है?
And what is that root? That one that we must focus on, that root in human form.
हमारी श्वास, उसको हिफाजत से रखने की जरूरत है.
That is our own breath, and so we must be attentive to that breath.
क्योंकि उसी की वजह से शरीर या अपना काम कर सकता है.
Because it is through that breath that all the fruits and the flowers in this world that come from our actions arise from that root of breath.
तो इसलिए मेरे राम गाड़ी वाले, वो जरा धीरे धीरे गाड़ी हाको, मेरे राम गाड़ी वाले। आप चार जना मिल मतो उठाया, बांधी काठ की घोड़ी। आप चार जना मिल मतो उठाया, बांधी काठ की घोड़ी। हर ले जाके मरघट पे रखिया, फूक मिली जैसे होली रे भैया। हल्के गाड़ी हाको, मेरे राम गाड़ी वाले, वो जरा धीरे धीरे गाड़ी हाको, मेरे राम गाड़ी वाले। बिलख बिलख कर चिड़िया रोवे, बिछड़ गई है मेरी जोड़ी। वाह बिलख बिलख कर चिड़िया रोवे रोवे, बिछड़ गई है मेरी जोड़ी। हर कहे कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, दिन जोड़ी उन थोड़ी रे भैया। हल्के गाड़ी हाको, मेरे राम गाड़ी वाले, वो जरा धीरे धीरे गाड़ी हाको, मेरे राम गाड़ी वाले, वो जरा हल्के गाड़ी हाको, मेरे राम गाड़ी वाले, वो जरा धीरे धीरे गाड़ी हाको, मेरे राम गाड़ी वाले, मेरे राम गाड़ी वाले, मेरे
Thank you. I can't express how fortunate we feel to have you all in our home and be able to do this recording. I hope that the message gets carried far and wide, wherever the internet goes, which I guess is almost everywhere.
तो वो कह रहे हैं कि वो बता नहीं सकते कि ये कितनी उनके लिए भाग्य की बात है कि वो आपको सुन सके और आज ये सब कर सके, और उनकी यही इच्छा है कि ये जो संदेश है आपका वो हर जगह पहुँचे। और वो कह रहे हैं जहाँ जहाँ इंटरनेट है वहाँ ज़रूर पहुँचेगा, और आजकल हर जगह इंटरनेट है तो हर जगह पहुँचेगा।
हम भी यही चाहते हैं कि संतों की, इन महापुरुषों की इस वाणी को पूरे विश्व में जाना चाहिए, ताकि पूरे इस विश्व में जो अनेक प्रकार की दूरियां बढ़ रही है वो कम हो, आपस में लोग प्रेम और सद्भाव के साथ रह सके। और इन वाणी के जरिए, इन संतों के शब्दों के जरिए इंसान के बीच में प्रेम और सद्भाव कायम किया जा सकता है। इसलिए हमारा लक्ष्य है कि कम से कम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कबीर की, गुरु नानक साहब की, बुल्ले शाह की इन वाणी को जाना चाहिए, ताकि हमारे बीच में जो ये दूरियां हैं वो ख़त्म हो।
That's what he says, that's what he wants and he wishes and he desires, that he spreads this message of love and unity, and the boundaries, the walls, those are destroyed, the race, culture, religion, race, anything, and he just wants the distances to dissolve and the world is in peace and harmony.
That's a good plan. Almost my last question. When the musical journey started, people knew the prophet, the poet, but didn't know the musician, the ensemble. Now, may I say world famous? People come, they walk many kilometers, they hitchhike to come see you and the ensemble. Now that you're a star, has that made any difference?
तो वो कह रहे हैं कि पहले लोग कबीर को जानते थे, कबीर लोकप्रिय थे, लेकिन अब आपकी वाणी, आपके भजन इतने लोगों को प्रिय हैं, आप इतने लोकप्रिय हैं कि लोग घंटों चल के गाड़ियों में बैठ के आपको सुनने, आपको देखने आते हैं। आप एक स्टार, एक सितारा बन गए हैं। तो वो कह रहे हैं कि क्या कुछ अलग हुआ है, आपको क्या लगता है?
नहीं, सितार या स्टार या ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। हम यही चाहते हैं कि भजन के साथ ही साथ हमारे अंदर, यदि हम स्टार बन जाएंगे तो शायद हमारे अंदर ईगो पैदा हो जाएगा, हम वो, परंतु हम इसी तरह से सरल बने रहें और केवल लोगों के बीच ये संतों की वाणी को गाते रहें, बस यही हमारी।
He says that he is not a star, he just wants to be a humble messenger to spread this message of love among people, because he doesn't want to have that ego inside him that he is some big shot, big star. He just wants to say.
I understand as a person that that is his soul.
Yes.
Yes. But the outside world doesn't always respect that. In America or the Western world, when you're famous and recognized, you get a table at a restaurant right away. I mean, has he been asked to be in a Bollywood movie? So the world sometimes corrupts us without us knowing, or puts undue pressure on us. Fame is a double-edged sword.
तो वो कह रहे हैं कि ये आपकी बात हुई, आपके अंतर की, लेकिन लोग ये नहीं समझते। उनके लिए तो आप एक बहुत बड़े इंसान, बहुत लोकप्रिय गायक हैं, चाहे वो बॉलीवुड के लोग हों, जैसे उनको भी लगता है, या आसपास के लोगों को। तो वो कह रहे हैं कि क्या इससे, क्योंकि लोग अब आपको एक सेलिब्रिटी का स्टेटस देते हैं, एक अलग तरह से आपसे बर्ताव करते हैं, तो इससे क्या आपके प्रेशर आता है, आपके दबाव आता है, या आप कैसा महसूस करते हैं?
मैं ये चाहता हूँ कि प्रेशर और तो कुछ नहीं, परंतु फिर भी वो चाहे किसी रूप में भी जुड़े, परंतु इसके माध्यम से वो अपने आप से भी जुड़ जाए। माने इसकी वजह से उनके अपने अंदर की खोज शुरू हो जाए, उनकी रहनी गहनी में परिवर्तन हो जाए, उनकी सोच एक सकारात्मक स्थिति में चली जाए, बस यही हो जाए तो बहुत अच्छी बात है।
He is saying that they can think of him as a star, or they can relate to it by any means, but the whole purpose should be connecting to their own self, and that's what he cares for, and that's what matters for him.
Certainly.
That through him they try to find themselves, and that's how they understand and experience the message of love.
Excellent.
एक और चीज़ है इसमें कि स्टार होने से या इतनी प्रसिद्धि मिलने के बाद फिर लोग ज़्यादा सुनते हैं, बात को ज़्यादा मानते हैं और ज़्यादा सुनते हैं, इसका ये भी प्रभाव है।
He's saying that has a positive effect, that now since he's so popular, people come and see him more, listen to him more, and now his voice has so much impact on people. So that way, that has helped him. So not for his own self, but for the world, it has become so much, and that is such a great point.
अच्छा,
because
तो
of
फिर हमको स्टार बना दो।
that
सब लोग ज़्यादा सुनेंगे, तो ज़्यादा उनके जीवन में परिवर्तन हो
he's saying
सकता
that
है।
he's ready to become a star if this is what the whole purpose is.
Any parting thoughts, messages?
जाते जाते आप क्या संदेश देना
हम
चाहेंगे?
यही चाहते हैं कि आपके मार्फत और इन सब के मार्फत ये संदेश पूरी दुनिया में जाए, और आप जो काम कर रहे हैं इसके लिए आपका बहुत धन्यवाद है कि कबीर और संतों की वाणी को जोड़ने के लिए पूरे जनमानस में, केवल अमेरिका ही नहीं पूरे विश्व में जाए, ताकि लोगों में आपस प्रेम और सद्भाव बन सके। बस हम यही चाहते हैं।
He wants to thank you for connecting people to Kabeer and his messages and connecting him to them. And he wants and he wishes that this message of love gets spread all over the world. And he's really thankful to you for doing that and becoming a medium.
So, for KUPR 99.9 in the high desert of Placitas, New Mexico, and ABQ Live, this has been the Matthew Bronson Show with PrahladJi and Ensemble. Thank you.